Five, four, three, two.
Come to me, Dark Warriors. Battle awaits us.
What it do, Pikachu? It's SideQuest Enthusiast, a gaming podcast about the quests we play to be who we are. I'm your host, Kyle V. Hiller, but you can call me Dr. Chillgood out here in these stages. And on this episode, I'm joined by the magical, the heroic, the hip-hoppiest. She is the one named Victoria L. Johnson, a.k.a. Miss Old School, a.k.a. Sailor Victoria. Questies of the land of Enthusia, give it up for Sailor Victoria. How you doing, homie?
What's up, Pikachu? I love that so much.
Thank you.
That's hilarious.
I wish I could claim that as an original, but I got that from Superstore, so yeah.
I love that show.
It's such a good show.
It's a great show, yeah. It's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
But yeah, how you doing? What's up? What's good?
I'm pretty good. You know, it's been a long week, but it's almost at the end, and I'm vibing, and I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on too. And this is definitely a little bit of a deviation from the rest of our episodes because this is a video game podcast, but we're all weebs here.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a big overarching theme here because Sailor Moon is a thing that many of us gamers love.
Yes.
And you're all about that.
I am all about it.
Absolutely. So let the questies of the world know who you are and what you do.
So I am, as you said in your great intro, Victoria L. Johnson, aka Sailor Victoria, aka Miss Old School, and I am the host of the Sailor Moon Fan Club podcast, where I interview Sailor Moon fans about their career, their life, and we talk about Sailor Moon, of course.
Dope. And you're coming up on episode, you just published episode 50 about a week or two ago as of this recording. And on this show, what I like to do is take it all the way back to level 1. So I've dug through the interwebs to find one of the first things you put out there in the world. And here we'll talk about what was going through your mind, focusing especially on the what and the why, because it's important that we remember where we came from and also give a little insight to the process to any listeners who might be thinking of embarking on their own quest similar to yours. So are you ready for what I have in store for you?
I'm scared, but I'm ready. I'm excited.
Awesome. I love scared. So I actually have 3 for you.
Okay.
I'm going to cheat here and put them in the chat for you. Here's the first one. It's from an Instagram that you posted on, catching my notes here, November 18th, 2012.
Okay, let me put this post.
And it's a photo of a Super Nintendo with Super Mario World with the caption, "This is going straight to the dorms tonight."
Yes.
And to follow that one up, we have another post from January 8th, 2013.
Oh my gosh.
All
right.
With the caption that says, "Bet y'all ain't know I could draw though."
This is hilarious.
And we have an illustration of Sailor Moon that you quote unquote drew in middle school.
I did draw this.
I can relate to that. I'll get back to that in a second. That hashtag of Toonami, though, is very important here. And then finally, the coup de grace, if you will.
Oh gosh.
This one's a little bit more recent, of course. This one's from last year.
Oh, okay.
It was on, let's see, I did not date it. March 15th, 2020, which was Sailor Moon creator Naoko Takeuchi's 53rd birthday, was the first post about your show, the Sailor Moon Club.
Yeah.
The Sailor Moon Fan Club, sorry.
No.
So we've got games, we've got Sailor Moon, and we got a Sailor Moon podcast. How did that all come together?
Well, the games, so funny story. So my parents got me an Xbox when I was in 6th grade, and I did not like any of the games on the Xbox. At the time, I like couldn't really get into Halo. I would have lost that bet. I did like this game called Fusion Frenzy, but I only had the demo, and I was like, eh.
Mm,
um,
I remember Fusion Frenzy. That was a good
so
game.
it was so fun.
Yeah.
So my brother had a GameCube and a Super Nintendo, and like I would always be in his room playing both. And he was just like, "You want to
Right.
swap?" And I was like, "Bet!" Like absolutely. Because like I just always like played like I love Super Mario World. It's one of my favorite games. Um, I love yeah, so many games. I used to play Super Mario Sunshine, just like yeah. So both of those. So and I'm just a big Super Mario fan. So yeah, I found that I brought it with me to or what did I think I went back home. So I'm originally from Florida, but I went to college in New York.
Right on.
And I brought it with me back to New York. I'm back to New York, and I was just like, "This is going to the dorms. Like, I'm inviting people over. We're playing Super
Right.
Mario on the original Super Nintendo. Like, this is
Yep. Yep.
happening." Um, and then so yeah, the Sailor Moon, like obviously was always a big Sailor Moon fan since it first aired on Toonami when I was like 6, sometime in the 90s. And yeah, I was a fan. So this picture, I really did draw it. I mean, I did like have a reference, and I like look back and forth between the reference and like my drawing. So it wasn't
Hmm.
like off the head, my top of my head, but I actually did draw it, and I feel like it was really good. And yeah, I drew it in middle school, and it just is in a random notebook somewhere that I don't even remember where, honestly. But I'm
Right.
glad I took a picture of it because now it's documented.
Yeah. Right. That's funny
Mm-hmm.
because I actually have a whole bunch of illustrations because from middle school because I thought I could draw back then.
Mm-hmm.
Which is basically just me going on my dial-up internet and finding pictures of random anime and
Mm-hmm.
drawing them. A lot of them Sailor Moon. Was there
Yes.
any other Sailor Moon? Was that like a thing that you were doing as far as illustration and drawing and stuff like that? Was that something you wanted to do, or like you were just, hey, I got some free time today. I'm a kid. I'm gonna draw some Sailor Moon.
I think it was more like I have free time today. I'm a kid. I mean, I've always like doodled.
Hmm.
But this is probably one of the few times I actually was like, let me draw this thing. I think one time I tried to draw my dad. Um, just like he was sitting, and I was like, I'm gonna draw a portrait of you. But it was always just like that. When you said like, I'm a kid, I have nothing else to do. There's no internet
Right.
these days. Like you
Hmm.
have to just find things to entertain yourself. Or at least internet wasn't regularly accessible as it is now. So yeah, I think it was just one of those things. I wasn't drawing too much on the regular, except for like doodles, which are like flowers and like graffiti. Actually, I used to draw graffiti a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just like bubble letters and like graffiti.
Right.
That was fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to
Yeah.
do that a
Yeah.
lot more than like anime.
Right. So, you know, drawing Sailor Moon, you were obviously moved by it. Talk
Hmm.
about your first brushes with Sailor Moon and what got you into it.
Oh gosh, the show. So like I said, so my brother randomly one day. So my brother's a big anime fan. He's also like an amazing artist, which is probably why I was like, "You got this," and just like did not pursue that art career.
Right.
I was just like, "Oh, this is a lot of work. You know what? I'm good." Um, yeah. So he's big into anime, and one day, he came up to me. And he's a little bit older. He's like 10 years older than me. So he was like,
Hmm.
"There's a show coming on. I think you'll love it. You should like check it out." And he put on TV for me, and I was just like, okay, like I'm a kid, whatever. I'll watch TV all day.
Hmm.
And it was Sailor Moon, and just from then on, like I just loved it. Like I would watch it every single day. Like it was my soap opera. Like
Right. Right.
yeah. And then got into that whole Toonami block with
Hmm.
Dragon Ball Z and Tenchi Muyo.
Right.
Um, yeah, and that was my afternoons for like years until it just randomly disappeared. I
Oof.
had to
Right.
move on with my life.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Did you? How did your relationship with Sailor Moon start to evolve? Because I know for me, it really became infused with everything that I did. I literally I'm working with 3 screens right now, and all of them have Sailor Moon wallpapers. I have Sailor Moon coasters. I have a Sailor Moon skating board deck hanging up on my wall. I'm not playing around. I
I
love me some Sailor
see.
Moon.
I love
But
that so much. You have no idea.
all right. So like when did you feel like your fandom really just went to another level, especially just like growing up, getting into young adulthood and all that stuff, was there anything that was transformative for you or anything? Like, what was that process like?
I think it was probably probably middle school around the time I drew that picture because I think like like I said, Sailor Moon kind of just like disappeared, but it was always this thing I loved, and I think since it wasn't like on TV anymore, I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
say I forgot about it, but it was just like it just wasn't there. And then I think like at some point I was just like, wait, what happens to that thing I really loved? Like
Right.
there was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I was really fortunate after, of course I would like Google stuff and like I was like dedicated. I was like, I'm gonna find this show. I spent like months like searching on Google every day for the Sailor Moon DVDs to see if I can
Right.
find it. And I got lucky at some point. And this actually gave me the feeling like I could find anything on the internet.
Right.
After that, because like I spent so much time like literally like I need to rewatch the show. Like I love this show. I want it in my life again. And then I was able to find, some not legal DVDs. And
Yep.
got them over a span of different Christmases and birthdays because they were like $40 each, and there was no way I was going to get them all at once.
Yep.
And
Oof.
yeah,
Been there. I know that. I know that.
yeah. And then I think when I rewatched it at that time, it was just like, oh, like I still really love this. So I wasn't sure if I was still gonna like it because that's the other thing. You
Right.
kind of, the danger because there was a lot of things I loved when I was younger, and I rewatched it now, and I'm like, this is horrible. I don't know what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And
Truth.
the fact that I still liked it, I was just like, oh man, like this is amazing. This is still as great as I remember. And then, rewatching it over the years, and just it's always been a constant for me of something that I like. Like I mentioned before, like there's been other things over the years. I'm like, oh, I don't like this anymore. I like this anymore. Like at one point, like even with Super Mario, like I love Super Mario, but Sailor Moon has even been even more constant in my life than that. Because with Super Mario, I maybe have like two things, but I have so many Sailor Moon stuff. I'm just looking around my
Right.
room now, just playing
Mm-hmm.
like things I can find, and it's quite a lot.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there was something special about that. I remember the first time I used the internet, and the
Mm-hmm.
first thing I did was look up Sailor Moon.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was like Yahoo or some random search engine back
Ask
then, and like
Jeeves.
it might even been right. Exactly, could have been Ask Jeeves, could have been Alta Vista, one of those like from the
Oh
early to mid
gosh,
'90s.
yeah.
And I found the Sailor Moon Universe website, and I was just like, "There's more
Oh
episodes,"
my
because
gosh,
there
yeah.
was this like a third season. There was a rest. There was more to the second
Right.
season. I'm like, what is all this? Who are these other Sailor Senshi that, or Sailor Scouts as it was back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like that continued to evolve for me, and I haven't done anything with Sailor Moon. I think once upon a time I contemplated doing a watch along series of
Ooh.
episodes of a podcast of just like, hey, I want to watch Sailor Moon and talk about it. But I'm glad I didn't do that because we got the Sailor Moon fan club, and it's so much
Yay!
better. Um, one of the best podcasts out there in the world. Go listen, y'all.
Thank
But
you.
and I'm not gassing y'all up. I mean that. Go listen. But
Yay! Yeah.
starting this podcast, because it wasn't your first one,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
what is happening in your mind when you're like, I'm going to do a Sailor Moon podcast?
So, few steps. So my first podcast was Nerds on Hip Hop. And it's funny you mentioned that you wanted to do a watch along because me and my co-host, shout out to the Wolves Den. Um,
Hey,
yeah, he kind of had an idea too. Well, we had an idea to kind of do a similar thing, like a watch along, because we couldn't find a lot of anime breakdowns of magical girl shows. Um,
right.
like there's a lot for shonen and where it's like they're picking apart themes and episodes, so we're like, oh, let's try and do this for Sailor Moon, and like maybe we can expand it to other magical girl series. um
Right.
but it was so much work. It was just
Mm-hmm.
like, man, we really have to be like analytical, and then we were trying to like add a video component, and it was just like, we don't have time for this. Like I was like working freelance and like maybe in grad school at the time. He's like getting a whole PhD. Like I was like, this isn't happening. I think we kind of shelved it, and then and I forgot what it was. It was named something else. And then like a year later, I was just like, like maybe I should just do like a magical girls podcast, and we just talk about magical girls. Um, and he was just like, "Oh, that's a good idea. Like, you should do it." But then like 6 months later, I was just like, oh, I really just want to talk about Sailor Moon. And then most of the people I
Yeah.
kept coming across were mostly Sailor Moon fans and not necessarily Magical Girl anime fans. Like a few were, but most people were like really just familiar with Sailor Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just like, what if I just talk to Sailor Moon fans? And then I'm like, well, we can't just talk about Sailor Moon all the time. And we could,
Right.
but like, and I was just like, well, I can interview them about themselves, and we talk about Sailor Moon also and how it affected their lives, and like things that they're doing. And I was just like, this is coming together, like this is,
Right.
and that's kind of how the Sailor Moon fan club podcast. And it was so funny because I was really struggling with the magical girls concept, and I was just like, what should I ask? What should we talk about? Like, should we like pick a show and like do a historical thing, or? And then when I thought of Sailor Moon fan club, it was just like I came up with the name, I came up with the questions, I came up with like the logo, like everything just flowed, and I was just like, this is it,
Yeah.
this is it.
And that's crazy because I
Mm-hmm.
think just listening to the show, especially even in the early episodes and seeing just how the aesthetic of the show too, it really does come across as this came together so well. But I'd imagine that took some time, right? Like what was from point A to launch, what was kind of going through your mind, like, as far as just like what you wanted to do with it and where you wanted it to go. Is there
Yeah.
anything that was going on in your mind with that?
So I came up with the Sailor Moon fan club idea in January, and I kind of like had this idea of the Magical Girl show like for a while, and I was kind of like, when should I launch? What should I do? And I was just like, I didn't want to pick anything too soon. So when I figured out I wanted to do the Sailor Moon fan club in January, I was like, all right, when should I launch? And I was like, oh shoot, like Naoko Takeuchi's birthday is on March 15th. Like that's perfect. That gives me 3 months,
Perfect.
to kind of like bring it together. And I was like, and it's not too far away where like I'm gonna keep procrastinating on this, and I can like give myself a deadline. So that like worked out great. And then so I tend to be very what's the word? I wouldn't say brave, but I take a lot of risks.
Right.
And so I'm like, I have my list of people I want on the show, and I'm just like I try to be very optimistic and positive. Like, this is gonna happen. Like, I'm gonna reach out to this person. Like, I am the queen of shooting my shot. Like,
Right.
really
Yeah.
am.
If
Like,
you're holding up the ball, you're missing the point. You know what I mean?
right, yeah. So like, I am always just like, I'm just gonna try it. Let's see. Um, and so I started reaching out to people. And then like I started with people that I also started with people that I like knew, or that I at least like kind of had informal conversations with them about it, because I kind of had went to Anime NYC the year before that, so I like met up with Jackie, who does Adorned by Chi, and we hung
Mm-hmm.
out. Like we kind of knew each other from the internet before, but now we like met each other in real life. And I was just like, hey, I'm gonna hit you up about this podcast next year. Like, be ready.
Right.
Um, and then I think I like reached out to Eunice from Black Girls Anime. So like I knew there were people like a part of the community who was like already interested. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna reach out to them first, and then so I'll at least have like I'll definitely have content on March 15th. I'll have episodes. And then and they're amazing too. I just really lucked out and just kind of knowing people and being in contact with them. And then for everyone else, I was just like, I'm gonna do cold emails and see who says yes and who says no and who doesn't get back to me. And that's been how I've been running it ever since, and it's been working out. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I set a lot of goals in the beginning of people I wanted to be on and who I hope to be on, and I'm looking at the list now. I'm like, I'm gonna have to create a new list pretty
Yeah.
soon.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, again, you're at just released episode 50
Mm-hmm.
as of this recording, and it's been a ride, and it's been a year, and we're coming up on Naoko Takeuchi's 54th birthday, and
Yeah.
it's like having to think about what's next is one thing, because let me put it this way. and this is going to segue into the next segment. It's the rare candy segment, as I like to call it.
Oh,
And with the rare candy, if you are familiar with Pokemon, when you
I
use a
am.
rare candy, you get a level up. So your inner Pokemon, uh, Victoriamon, if you will, is
I like
about to
it.
evolve.
Mhm.
And it only needs one more level to do so. And your inner trainer um, says it's time to use the rare candy, you know? So, a couple questions here. We'll start with the first one, actually.
Mhm.
First question. When you evolve, what's the next level? And you can answer that and interpret that however you want.
Oh man. Okay, so first, can I be Vic Evie?
Yes, absolutely. That is totally allowed.
Okay. I love Evie. But
Hmm.
so I think I mean Frank, money to get
Hmm.
some like sponsorship would be amazing for the podcast. I think the other thing is I've been thinking about adding a video component later
Hmm.
on, starting a Patreon. Like you have a Patreon, shout out to you.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So I've been thinking about doing that, and just the merch has been helping with offsetting the cost because right now I pay for everything myself. And yeah, I think just like growing and getting more guests and getting more of those people that are seemed unreachable or are seem unreachable,
Right,
getting
right.
them on the show. And yeah, I think some other things. I mean, COVID kind of did a whole bunch of bad things, but
Yeah.
I would love to start doing some in-person events too.
Hmm.
Maybe, probably, hopefully next knock on wood. I'm thinking about like a Sailor Moon game night,
Yeah.
and like yeah, just like some meetups with like Sailor Moon fans where, we don't have to talk about Sailor Moon, but I'm sure it'll be involved somehow. And just, yeah, just hanging out. Because a lot of the
Yeah.
people I've had on the show, like I've never met them in person, but I'm like, I feel like we're best friends because we
Right.
had like this hour and a half conversation
Hmm. Hmm.
and we're so close now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I kind of want to see you.
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
crazy how something like this brings people together, with Sailor
Mhm.
Moon. It's so many friendships and relationships and stuff have blossomed because
Mhm.
of this one thing. And uh, I would love to know what Nayoko san's feelings are about that, because you're just drawing Sailor Moon in like, probably the late 80s thinking, oh, this thing, I kind of want to see if it can get published. And 30 years later, it's this huge phenomenon. I can't fathom that. I'm grateful
Yeah,
for it.
I imagine too. I don't know. I imagine she's grateful. I hope, but yeah. I mean, I hope she knows just how many people really value and like love Sailor Moon, like
Hmm.
globally. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So, since you've used your rare candy,
Okay,
you've learned a new move, as you just described. These are the moves that you're looking to learn,
okay.
which means, as in Pokemon, you only get 4 moves, and you have to
Hmm.
forget one in order to
Oh,
make room for the new one. So, Sailor Victoria,
okay.
what move in life, Vic TV, what move will Vic TV forget? And again, think outside the box as far as you can, if you want to.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be podcast related.
It doesn't have to be podcast related. It can be habits. It can be thoughts, ideas, feelings, projects that just need to go by the wayside,
Okay.
or whatever.
So I would get rid of the feeling I have whenever I eat something salty. I always want something sweet afterwards, and it leads to a lot. It's not a great habit.
Yo, I feel that so hard.
Yeah. So
It's so bad. I don't understand it.
it's so bad.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
it's definitely
Okay.
responsible for at least 10 of these pounds on me.
At
At
least.
least. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm the same way, but I'm actually the opposite. It's just like, if I have something savory, I have to have something sweet. And
Yeah.
I'm not a sweet person
Mhm.
normally, but when I have regular food, that's when I want it. And I'm like, what are you doing, brain?
Mm-hmm.
You know
Yeah.
that's not how it works.
Same. And you know what sucks too? Sometimes I'll have this sweet thing and my mind is like, you know what? I kind of want something salty and like maybe we should get some
Right. You
chips.
just go
And I was
back and
like,
forth.
like, what do you want? What do you want from me?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yes, I think I'm going to put that at the top of my list of moves
Yeah.
that I want to forget. Thank you
Yeah.
for
No
that
problem.
enlightening answer. That was perfect. And on that note, we're going to take a break. We're going to get some sweet food here after that savory
Ooh.
answer. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Sailor Moon, the video game that we will probably never get, but we hope so.
Yes.
BRB, y'all. Stay tuned. And we're back. Sailor Moon. We're just going to dive into this because I love video games as well as you do, obviously. And it's been a long time since we've had a legit Sailor Moon game. The last one that I really remember playing is that was actually good. It was good-ish. Was Sailor Moon: Another Story, which was a long-ass RPG on Super Nintendo that I had to find the ROM for it because that was the thing you did in the 90s.
Yep.
I had to find a hack for it and then a translation for it, like a Fandom, which was a lot of work for you back, like for people back then on dial-up internet. But it was worth it, and I played through that game, and that was great. But that was September of 1995 that game came out.
Mm-hmm.
It is not the 1900s anymore.
Man, when you say it like that.
Why has Sailor Moon not given us a video game yet? What is this? And what do we want in a Sailor Moon video game? What do you want in a Sailor Moon video game?
Oh man, I feel like I don't see this answer enough. I really actually want a action adventure game, like similar to the Spider-Man game we just got a
Oh
few years ago.
man. Oof.
That's like my dream. Like I would love to like live through the whole Sailor Moon storyline, but like in like an open world setting, but not too open because I don't like too open worlds. Open
Yeah.
worlds that are too open, it's just too much. Um, but yeah, I think something like that where you're just kind of like running around town and maybe like the Negaverse is attacking like the bank and you can like go fix that real quick if you want, like the little like what's it called, monsters of the weeks. Maybe they're
Right.
spread out around the city. And yeah, and then you're just like Sailor Moon, and maybe you like go, you go to the temple and you meet Sailor Mars, and you're like, oh, you're Sailor Mars or whatever. Yeah, I would love that.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, that's what I
That
want in
would be
life.
so much fun. I would
Right?
put hundreds of hours into that, especially if there was like an online component or if you could like
Oh my
create your
god.
own sailor.
Yes, like the DC universe, but better.
Right, exactly. Wow, yeah, see, that would be
Yeah.
awesome because I feel like Sailor Moon is primed for video games, but
Mm-hmm.
we just got a whole bunch of mobile games
Yep.
and a whole bunch of crappy fighting games where clearly no one cared. They were just like, all right, let's take this basic fighting uh, game engine and slap some Sailor Moon characters on it and call it a day. Put it out. It's not enough.
Yeah. Not
I
enough.
think I do want a really dope Sailor Moon fighting game, like Dragon Ball Fighters
Mm-hmm.
style, like that quality of animation and all that stuff. But I'm really digging your idea. Like,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
kind of want to expand on that, but
yeah, I mean that's my dream. I do like fighting games. I'm not like a huge fighting game person, but
mhm.
I love, Tekken, Street Fighter, Soul Calibur. Um and so yeah, but I don't know. I would love to Sailor Moon game. Like someone did a Sailor Moon Tekken like mod, and it looks so cool. It was going around
Whoa.
Twitter the other day. Yeah, I'll see if I can send it to you.
Yes,
But
please. I did not
yeah,
see that.
it was so cool, and I was just like, I want this. I
Right.
would do this.
Right.
But I love stories. Like, I think I mentioned it to you before we started recording. Like, I like side quests. I like stories.
Hmm.
Like, there was a meme I saw the other day when they were like, someone like, oh, you'll have so much fun over here. And it's like an adult dragging a kid. And they were like, oh, but I was having fun over here. And they were like in the side quest area and they're dragging them to like the multiplayer online area.
Right.
And I'm like, I feel like that's sometimes me. I'm just like, oh, story mode, side quests.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that idea would be perfect because essentially you could with the whole Monsters of the Week thing that'd be dope. But also just like there's so many other things that happen in the Sailor Moon TV show where it's just like, hey, you got to play as Nurse Venus in this scenario and make sure that everyone doesn't, stay sick and all that other
That's
stuff.
yeah,
Like
that's
I
so
want
good.
that, or just
Right.
like,
Or you have to
there
find
was
like, oh, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Yeah, so you find like roses, tuxedo masks hit around the city or whatever.
Right, right. Or and then you could really play with story on that too, where it's just like, oh, Tuxedo Mask lost all his roses and maybe he lost his power or something like
Oh,
that. Or,
yeah.
which and you can tie that back into the Sailor Moon R movie, right? Where it's just like,
Ooh.
hey, here's your friend Fiore from the past and he's back and he needs
Right.
these roses or whatever. Otherwise he's not going to live because that was the whole thing. um, that'd be cool.
That
Um,
would be super cool.
yeah,
Yeah. I want it so bad. Like that
yeah,
is my dream Sailor Moon game.
yeah. Oh man, I think we need to make it somehow. Who do we know?
Yeah. That's what I keep, I'm like, there is enough technology and enough Sailor Moon fans where we could just indie this and just send it out for free
Yeah,
and just
seriously.
hope, yeah, and
Mm.
figure out the legal stuff later.
Right,
But
exactly. I'd rather that than just even if I could just make it for myself and a few friends, that would be cool. But
yeah,
I don't know. And there's nothing like Sailor Moon that exists as a video game that I can think of. I don't know if there's anything that kind of scratches that itch for you at all. Maybe.
there's this game I haven't played it, but it's called Magia Record, and wait, maybe that's not it. It's basically a magical girl game, and I don't
Mhm.
think it's a fighting game though. It might be an RPG. Um, I haven't played it yet though, but it's always kind of caught my eye, and I'm like, one day I'll check you
Right.
out.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up because that is definitely something that I'd be into. But again, there's like not a lot of tokusatsu or whatever shonen
Hmm.
shoujo stuff out there. But have you played any of the other Sailor Moon games at all?
I did play another story. I didn't finish it. I played it online.
Hmm.
I found like some random website, as you do, and this was probably like the early 2000s ish, definitely before 2010, I would say.
Right.
And you can just play it online. But I think at some point, like I forgot it like wasn't saving, and I had to make that tough
Oh,
call. Yeah, I had to like I had to restart the computer, and that was it. And I was just like, well, not playing through that all again. That was like a whole day wasted.
yeah, right.
And so, yeah, but that's the only time. And I just never went back to it because I was just like, this site doesn't work. I'm not dealing with this again. Like, just broke my heart.
Yeah.
Um, that was the only game I've played. Yeah, it was the only Sailor Moon game I've played. I mean, I played Sailor Moon Drops. I was like addicted to that, but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
The kids will never know these days the
They
fact that
won't.
autosave is a thing. So
Yeah.
lucky. I
Yep.
have to remind myself that too whenever I play old school games where I'm just like, oh, wait, I have to find a save point. I can't just stop playing
Yeah.
because I will lose all my progress. Not
Right.
okay.
Or even I played Max Payne recently last year. I played it before when I was younger, but I never finished it. So I was like, I'm gonna finish it. I've been doing this thing where I'm like picking up things I never finished before, and I'm like, I'm gonna finish it. But
Hmm.
and even that game though, like they do the saves for you, but you can't choose where you save, or like it doesn't save automatically like every so often. it was so frustrating because there were some parts where I'm like, oh, like I died, and like you brought me all the way back here, like
Right.
like I can't save sooner on, like right
The
before the boss or
disrespect.
something. Yeah,
It's not
it's
okay.
ridiculous. Yeah,
Yep.
no.
Word. Yeah, so hopefully in our future, it's 30-year anniversary. Maybe we'll see something with Sailor Moon. I don't know. On our video game consoles. I don't think it's going to happen, but our fingers are crossed. If not, we're going to make it. That's fine because I feel
Yes.
like I'm on the path of being a Sailor Moon scholar. If that's a thing, if
Ooh,
it's not,
let's
we
make
should
it a
make it up.
thing.
Let's make it a
Yeah,
thing.
I
Like, let's
might put that in
freaking make it a
my
thing.
my Twitter bio. Boom, it's a thing.
Listen, you got to manifest. It's that
Right?
time. It's 2021. We got to manifest a whole new world. So might as well start
Yeah,
now at this point.
I love it.
Yeah. Um, I kind of want to pivot away from this though. Before
Okay.
we jump into our next segment, I do have to ask you. I don't know what are you. How familiar are you with the new series with Crystal?
Eh. I did watch it when it first came out. I've forgotten most of it though. I plan to rewatch it whenever Eternal is available.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's semi. But yeah, I have an opinion if
I do because okay, I started
yeah.
watching it again a few years ago when it first came out, and I watched the first few episodes, and I just wasn't into it. But
Hmm.
I feel like as a Sailor Moon fan, I should at least watch it. What are your feelings on Sailor Moon Crystal as far as just like what you watched and going back to it?
So I had the same thing as you. I kind of watched it and I was just like, this is not Sailor Moon as I know it. I do not like this art. I do not like this story. Like I don't like how this is going. Um, and so I kind of like stopped and then I went back and watched it and caught up a little bit later. And I will say it does get better. Um, I think they're really trying to find their footing in the first season.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, the animation was off, and I forgot they went back and hired one of the original Sailor Moon character designers. I forgot their name,
Hmm.
and so that's been like a major improvement. Even like the newer like Eternal stuff like looks better. It still doesn't feel as good as the original 90s to me.
Right.
But I am excited that they're following the manga a little bit more and that we're going to see a lot of that animated. So I think I'm gonna continue on with it, mostly for that reason. Just because if it was like the same thing, I'd probably be like, yeah, I'll watch it.
Right.
But the fact that we're gonna see a lot of the stuff that's in the manga animated, I think that's well, we hope we'll see it. I'll watch it for that for sure. But I think it's worth a watch, and I'll even recommend it to some people who like don't want to commit to 200 episodes
Right.
of this show. I'm like, well, there's his other reboot that's only like 20, 30 episodes.
Right. Yeah, you gotta sell that a little bit because the 200 episodes, there's a lot of filler. There's some
Yeah.
skippable moments in that series, but I do. I'm trying to be more open these days. I don't want to lean on my nostalgia that much. I'm getting older. I can't do that
Mhm.
anymore. I got to keep up. But yeah, I'm glad you kind of put that in perspective. I think I am going to
Yeah.
try it again, especially with Eternal coming out because I do want to check that out.
Yeah, me too. I'm so
Yeah,
excited. It's one of
me
my favorite
too.
arcs. Yeah.
It's
Well,
wild that we're still getting Sailor Moon stuff long
yeah.
after, because I mean that show ended I think in 96, 25 years ago, and
Um,
maybe 97
maybe
officially.
97.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just now watching Sailor Moon Stars for the first time last
Oh my
year.
gosh.
Yeah, and
It's so
because
good.
it's
Mhm.
it's it's so good. It has no business being as good as it is.
It does not.
Um yeah. But do you have a favorite Sailor Moon season?
I do. So Stars is one. So I watched
Mhm.
Stars. So Stars is the final. That I got that when I was 16. So I think I started like getting the Sailor Moon DVDs, when I was 14, and I completed my collection at 16.
Right.
Um, and I was able to watch it for the first time then, and I was just like, this is like next level. Like, what is this?
Right.
So it's definitely between Stars and I really love R.
Mm,
Um, I I don't know. I hear mixed reviews, but I love the Alien arc, the Doom Tree. I
yes.
think it's so cool. It's so good. And then I love the whole the Black Moon clan. I think they're just cool villains. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
this is like a cool little clique y'all got. Like I don't know.
Mm, Yeah.
And then the story in S is just really good too. I love Queen of Helenia. Then we learn
Yes.
about Sailor Saturn. It's just, so yeah, I would choose those three. I don't know what order. Maybe Stars would be first,
Hmm.
or S. I don't know. I can think about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I feel the same way. I definitely feel like Stars is my favorite, but R is very close.
Hmm.
And I kind of go back and forth between the first season and Sailor Moon S as well.
Yeah, I found a renewed appreciation for the first season in my latest rewatch because I
Yeah.
started rewatching it for the podcast. People started bringing up stuff, and I was like, I don't remember that completely.
Yeah.
And I was like, it
Hmm.
has been a few years since I rewatched this whole show. Maybe I should rewatch it.
Right.
And yeah, I really because at first, yeah, you really see Usagi's growth through that first season, and I really
Yeah.
appreciate it for that.
Yeah. She gets so much slack when she
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't. It's a
Yeah.
shame. She is ride or die. She is fiercely loyal. I would
Right.
kill to have a best friend like Sailor Moon.
Exactly. Like she's a great friend, and she's only
Yeah.
14.
She's only 14. I'm just now learning how to be a friend, and I'm 35.
Right?
So much I'm learning from her.
Yeah.
like let's okay, I keep wanting to go into the next segment and then I keep coming up with more questions. What is one or more lessons that you take from Sailor Moon that you carry
Oh,
with you?
yeah. Definitely being kind to others, not judging books by their covers or people by their, your perceived notions of them. And forgiveness. Like she's just like a really big on forgiveness. Really big on forgiveness. And that's just admirable to me. And just like seeing the good in people, I think that specifically, like seeing the good in others, no matter how like horrible they may like be. And that's not doesn't necessarily mean like, I'm totally for like you can forgive someone and still not have them in your life.
Right. Hmm.
um but I think like, not carrying it with you and still like, instead of being like, oh, this person was awful to me, it's like, that person probably has a lot of stuff they're dealing with and they treated me badly, but I'm not gonna hold it against them. I'm not gonna like talk to them every day or talk to them, but I'm not gonna like harbor on it either. And like,
Right.
I'll still have, care for them and I hope they get better, but I'm not gonna, hate them or dislike them or anything like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. You heard it here, y'all. Just be good to others.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to do, but you can do it. I believe in you.
I love that. That's a perfect Sailor. Sailor Kyle says.
Whoa. Okay. I think that's a new segment now.
Yes.
Yep.
Do it.
Yeah, I probably will. I'm gonna have to record that later. So with that, we'll be right back, and when we return, we're going to move on to the speed run. Check it out.
Ooh.
BRB. Welcome back. Here we are, y'all. It is time for the I don't want to say infamous. I need a better term for this, but it's time for the speed run. So
I'm good. Like what's
you never know what's going to happen here on SideQuest
I
Enthusiast.
know. It's like jump. It's like Resident
Essentially.
Evil in here.
Yep. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
All right. So 2 minutes on the clock. Hajime. First question. What is your third favorite game of all time?
Oh gosh, third favorite game. Crash Bandicoot. Why not?
Ooh, okay. What is the last game you played?
Paradise Killer on Nintendo Switch.
Word. What was your second game console?
PlayStation 2, probably.
What is the best snack for gaming?
Oh, Doritos. I don't know.
Who is the best Sailor Senshi?
I love Sailor Moon, so I'll go Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon, word. That's not a popular answer. What is a game that you've always wanted to play but haven't gotten around to?
Oh, I haven't played Miles Morales yet.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is a game that you really wanted to play, got to play, and was disappointed by?
Oh, man, this is hard. What's a game I own? No, I actually did like Max Payne. I'm trying to think what I played recently. Actually, kind of Paradise Killer.
Paradise Killer? Okay.
Yeah.
Dub or sub? No judgment.
Ooh, I'm gonna say dub, but it really depends on the anime.
Okay. Coming up on 30 seconds. According to your choice of default settings, do you press down to look up or down to look down?
I do the inverted thing. I forgot which one it is, but I was invert.
I'll accept that.
Yeah.
But no one is not an acceptable answer for this question, but you can skip it. Who is your video game crush? Bonus half points if you can name more than one.
Ooh, Ryu, and Guile, both from Street Fighter. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to jump to the Moneyball trivia question worth 2 points.
Ooh,
Who
okay.
was your second guest on the Sailor Moon Fan Club podcast?
Oh gosh. Was it Eunice? Black Girls Anime?
It was not. It was
God.
LL McKinney.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, no.
So you got 10. That's pretty dang good.
Yay. That's a pretty good number, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for playing. Speed run. Now you know. Everyone knows. Dub or sub, best senshi, all that good stuff.
Yep.
Cool. So that leaves one more thing. We have to know what the DLC of your life is. So the inner game publisher in your life sees that you're on fire, which you are, and they want to make a DLC for the people to play. This DLC is a way to define a side of you that people may see as obvious about you, or could be something about you that you don't get to share often, but it's still you. What is the name of the DLC of your life?
So wait, let me make sure. Is DLC downloadable content or downloadable character? No, downloadable content, right?
Downloadable content, but you can interpret it as or downloadable character if you want.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was thinking for some reason. Okay.
I mean, that's kind of what happens. Sometimes the DLC is a character, so.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, why am I thinking that? I'll say Sailor Victoria.
Sailor Victoria's name of the DLC.
Yeah.
What's Sailor Victoria's adventure that she's going on in this DLC?
Ooh.
In her DLC.
She is.
Like the title screen comes up, the theme song comes on. It's from Sailor Moon, like dun dun dun.
Oh my god,
dun,
that'd be
dun,
awesome.
dun, dun, and there's the name of the episode.
I mean, I'd love to like journey to be a magical girl, but put me in like New York City. I feel like that'd be fun.
Okay. Journey to be a magical girl in New York City. That's what we're calling it. Featuring Sailor Victoria.
Yay!
Love it indeed. Yeah. So y'all heard it here. Sailor Victoria. That DLC is coming soon. You can listen to it on the Patreon side of things, patreon.com/SQEcast. But before we get into any of the housekeeping stuff, Sailor Victoria, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. And where can people find you?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. And you can find me, Sailor Victoria, at Miss Old School. That's Old School with a K on Twitter and Instagram. And you can find the Sailor Moon Fan Club podcast on Twitter at Moonies Club and on Instagram at Moonies_club. And we are on pretty much every single podcast streaming platform you can find: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Yeah, you can find us pretty much everywhere you want to subscribe.
Awesome. Everyone go show Sailor Victoria some love. And as for us, you can follow SideQuest Enthusiast on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at SQEcast. Episodes of the podcast are live on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube every other Friday. Catch our streams on Wednesday nights for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Fight Night, and peep game on our website as well, SideQuestEnthusiast.com or SQEcast if you don't feel like typing all that out. Support SideQuest Enthusiast by subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/SQEcast and get exclusive DLC, including a bonus segment of this episode, or make a one-time donation at ko-fi.com/SQEcast. That's ko-fi.com/SQEcast if subscription fatigue is a thing for you. Either way, every dollar goes a long way to keeping this show alive and elevating voices in the gaming space, especially in the name of diversity and inclusion and the moon. If you can't give, share this episode with your friends on social media and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. May the goddess smile upon you, and remember, say thank you in advance for what's already yours. Pork chop on the beat, and we're out. See you next time.
Come to me, Dark Warriors. Battle awaits us.
Push